Hey, imposter here. If I were to ask you, what does the moon look, a lot of us would say it's white and round. When you go into further detail of your explanation, you might notice things like craters, irregularities, and you might even name some of the places on the moon, like the Maria Triangularis. Moreover, you might even say the moon isn't white at all, but a combination of different grays. What are these different grays? How did they arrive? And what can they tell us about the Earth's and moon's history? And maybe even, how did the moon form? First of all, light and dark areas actually have interesting names. The lighter areas are known as the lunar highlands, and the darker areas are known as the Maria, Latin for sea. Now, don't get excited or skeptical. There is water on the moon, however not enough to have giant seas like the Earth does. The Marias are not literally seas, they're valleys. The dark material filling these deep valleys are actually solidified lava from when the moon formed. More on that later. The moon highlands and Marias contain large craters that are a result of asteroid impacts. Fun fact, the largest crater on the moon, South Pole Attican Basin, is found on the other side of the moon and is 2,500 kilometers across and is the oldest basin on the moon. To give you some perspective, the largest asteroid crater on Earth is only 300 kilometers across when it first touched down and is even smaller today. Back to how the moon formed. Most scientists agreed that a smaller proto-Earth was in its infancy, but was suddenly hit by a Mars-sized planetoid. This happened around 4.5 billion years ago, only 50 million years after the solar system was formed. The debris formed a ring around the Earth and started to clump up. The original moon spun faster, but because of it not being perfectly spherical and the bulges at the equator, it slowed down. Here's another fun fact. When the moon started to slow down, the bulge that caused the slowdown was facing Earth, and that's why the moon is tightly locked with us. The lava was from the early days of the moon and cooled over long periods of time, now giving us the dark and light spots of the moon.